Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelove, and this is Speedplay France and Stellaris number 14. We left off getting ready to probably fight a stagnant ascendancy. It's not exactly an easy task that lies ahead of us. Luckily we are not in an energy deficit any longer. We did touch zero for a moment, which was definitely not ideal. At any rate though, our economy is just doing tremendously. We are weirdly vacillating in our mineral income, which I didn't notice at the time, but that is just sort of odd in its own way. I guess our sectors are getting up to interesting stuff on their own. We are, however, making energy, which is great news. This stagnant ascendancy, which is upset with us, is not the one that we're going to attempt to attack. The reason for this is, well, they're the stronger of the stagnant ascendancies. We probably wouldn't be able to win a war against them. Well, that's probably not true. We might be able to win a war against them, but it's not a sure thing. This stagnant ascendancy, the one over to our space west, is just superior to us. The one that's upset at us to our south, space south, is overwhelming to us. Now, that is probably a major distinction that could very truly have rather serious implications if we do end up fighting, and the plan is that we are going to end up fighting one so that we will be better prepared to fight the other. They are angry at us, they're overwhelmingly powerful compared to us, and they want to break our empire apart. None of those are very good things for us, rather obviously. The weaker of the stagnant ascendancies, however, once we defeat them, we'll be able to bring science ships into their space and hopefully just get enough information from the debris to get on the path to some really high-end technologies. Once we have those high-end technologies, we'll hopefully be a more even match for the remaining stagnant ascendancy that has decided to take a rather dim view of our people, our empire, and our ethos. So we really have no choice but to fight them. We also are getting some interesting space projects though, and a sort of underlying theme to this episode has been that we are really going all out with our science teams and whatnot, researching quite a lot of projects actually. Since we've been surveying so much of the galaxy, a lot of our scientific leadership is very high level. They're also getting rather up there in age, which is slightly less than perfectly fortunate, but not really that big of a deal. We are managing to get all sorts of, well, just beneficial research done. A whole lot of anomalies are being discovered, and, well, we really are in a lot of ways like a scientific-based state, although obviously military has been and will continue to be the overriding emphasis of, well, definitely how we interact with the rest of the galaxy. It won't mainly be through science, although science is a major part of it. Now, at any rate, we are dealing with issues with our slaves. We're at probably minus 200 something relations with the stagnant ascendancy to our south. I hope that they're not going to fight us. That's really the main thing we're risking right now, is they decided to be upset at us while we were fighting a loose coalition of other states in our area that were not stagnant ascendancies, and thus not that considerable of a threat. Now we're going to be fighting a rather serious war once we manage to get everything together and all of our ships are fully upgraded and ready to go, which is hopefully going to be in the very near future. We also have quite a bit of planetary management to deal with as we shuffle around our people, slave and unenslave and re-enslave various groups, and generally just try to get the most bang for our buck for our, well, just for our empire in general. Now we are building a few additional battleships. We do have something like 3,500 energy in the bank, ready to go. Hopefully it'll take us through the conclusion of this war, and we're basically right about to do it. They have 2 planets, technically 5 as the game considers it. One of which you may have seen just a moment ago was a ring world with 4 sections, the other is a ring world with 1. So we're going to attempt to just go send all of our forces into a big clump, get them all together into a massive battle fleet. We have a couple construction ships behind, and we're sending over some science ships which should hopefully arrive in the near-ish future. Get all of our forces together into a combined fleet strength of 76,451.4, and we can conquer their entire empire in a single war and humiliate them in the process. And so here we go. We are at war. Our fleet is underway. It has arrived. We get views of the area, and we are charging in headlong under the command of our greatest admiral. We go ahead and build a wormhole station in the edge of their sector. Apparently the capital ship controlling or being controlled by our admiral was destroyed, and she is now somehow not dead, which is great, but not in the battle either, which is much, much less than great. We do have an additional battleship over in the Sol system moving over. We're going to try to put her in command of it again. Meanwhile, the fleet is doing well. There she is back in control of the at least part of the armada. The battleships are clinging back while the smaller forces are flooding forward. We've already defeated their main navy, which is tremendous news. We lost around 14, or roughly about 10,000 fleet strength. So it is good news that we're producing more battleships. Hopefully this level of weakness won't encourage the other fallen ascendancy or stagnant ascendancy to attack us, and we're bringing in our land armies in order to attack the Palatial District, which is their capital. Alright, and here we go. Our forces are landing. Immediately they've taken severe damage, which is far less than ideal. It looks as though we're going to be losing the French elements of our army rather quickly. We've lost our attacking general. I'm not sure if he's died in the fighting or what happened. We go ahead and construct robotic armies on all of our planets, or all of the 7 planets directly controlled by us, and we retreat our remaining military forces, hire a new general, put him in charge of the fleet, and send the remaining armies we control back to a friendly world so they can heal. That wasn't ideal. Luckily, the main space portion of the fighting has been resolved in our favor. We're going to go ahead and split our fleet, send one half over to the other world that they control, and hopefully bottle up their forces and prevent them from creating any new ones. We do go ahead and just start full bombarding the remaining sections of their Halo type ring world. And yeah, there we go. We also are getting the first of our science ships over to the area. Hopefully we'll be able to start researching. You'll notice we are researching some debris already. The remaining hunter-killer groups, which are the majority, well, entirety now of our armies besides defensive elements, are now being attached with basically just combat droids and other things. We delete some of the defensive armies and land the rest of our force, and hopefully this massive newly formed combined army, once it combines, will be enough that we'll be able to seize control over their ring world and finally make them submit. Alright, so that all said and done, we have at this point 25 groups of hunter-killer robots. We go ahead and finish decking them out with attachments, and once these finish healing, we'll be able to send them all together, group them up into a 35 or 25 strength army, and use it to fight. Now it does look as though they have some of their ships out just harassing our various territories, probably destroying all of those very expensive space stations that we had built. That's no matter. If we can destroy or occupy their ring worlds, well, ideally occupy their ring worlds, then it won't really matter if they're doing any harassment against one of our 2 massive viceroyalties, since in this one invasion we will occupy 1/5 of their empire, something they couldn't do against us without taking over probably like 100 worlds, or maybe just around 20. At any rate, it doesn't matter. We've taken over their capital portion. We heal up that 1/2 of the army, and we're just going to go to the trade district now, begin a similar invasion. We're at 74% war score. All of their worlds are currently occupied, or are currently being bombarded. They are cut off from trade, and they go ahead and give up. They are the keepers of knowledge, which means hopefully they have some pretty good military technology that we're sort of just absorbing with our science ships now. They also give us 5 worlds in 2 sectors, so we can go ahead and quite possibly just adjust our viceroyalty right now, our viceroyalty sector of the inner galaxy, in order to take over one of these mini worlds that we've got, and also everything except for their former capital. Now we're back to 5 sectors, but we control something like 10 planets directly in 5 sectors, which is pretty new and pretty great. We're going to build up all of the spaceports on these new worlds of ours and directly manage them. We're going to build happiness buildings, so hopefully we'll be able to get them to a point where they no longer need to be enslaved. And they'll be able to be productive members of our society, which would be great. They've also knocked our energy, or our mineral budget up to plus 1,000 a month, which is just ridiculously great. That increased our nation by roughly a third. We're also making quite a bit more energy, which is fantastic news, and means that we will be able to bring back our social programs, which means a lot of people will be a lot less upset with our government dominating them, and we might even be able to stop enslaving nearly so many people. So that's good. We also managed to get an achievement for having more than 1,000 mineral income a month, which was something like the new Industrial Revolution. So that is very great news, and hopefully once this science all comes in, we'll be able to deal with the one remaining overwhelming stagnant ascendancy, which could still very well do us a lot of harm right now. We are, however, 14% of our empire at this point, which is just worryingly little, although we are the 4th most populous species in the galaxy. A plan I have to maybe increase these numbers is to open up migration for our own people, which would open up a lot of the galaxy for their colonization and hopefully get the numbers up. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. When we come back tomorrow, we'll probably work on science and maybe even fight the other stagnant ascendancy. Have a great day.